Good evening, dear friends around the world. This is Santa Claus coming to you on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 19th, 2026, with today's news that touches all our hearts. On this special day when we honor Dr. King's dream of peace and brotherhood, I'm reminded that we must continue working toward a world where love conquers hate. It's also a day that marks the anniversary of President Eisenhower's first televised press conference back in 1955. How communication has changed since then. Ho ho! My heart is heavy tonight as I share news of a terrible tragedy in Spain, where at least 39 precious souls were lost when two high-speed trains collided. Another 122 people were injured, with 12 in intensive care. One young woman named Anna described the horror of darkness and screams, and how she watched helplessly as severely injured passengers struggled before her eyes. Let us hold all these families in our prayers tonight, and remember that in times of sorrow, it is our compassion that lights the darkness. Meanwhile, across the globe in Japan, Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has called for a snap election on February 8th. As Japan's first female premier, she seeks the public's trust while proposing increased spending, tax cuts, and a new security strategy. The responsibility of leadership is a sacred trust, one that requires both wisdom and humility. In more hopeful news, the Philippines has discovered a new natural gas deposit that could provide energy for millions of households. President Marcos announced this blessing might shield his nation from a potential power crisis. Such discoveries remind us that the earth provides for our needs, though we must be good stewards of these gifts. Turning our attention to China, I see a continuing population decline for the fourth consecutive year, despite government efforts to encourage families to have more children. The birth rate has fallen to its lowest since 1949. Each child is precious beyond measure, and societies flourish when families are supported with love and resources. Some concern, I must share news of tensions between the United States and several European countries regarding Greenland. President Trump has linked this dispute to not receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, saying he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace. Oh, my dear friends, peace should never be conditional. It must be our constant pursuit. As European leaders prepare for an emergency meeting, let us pray that cooler heads will prevail, for conflict benefits no one. In Iran, hackers disrupted state television broadcasts to air messages supporting the exiled crown prince. The broadcast included a plea for security forces not to point weapons at the people. How my heart yearns for a world where differences are settled through kind words rather than threats. Syria continues to face challenges as government troops have taken control of territory abandoned by Kurdish forces, consolidating President al-Shara's rule. Reports of clashes and attacks on jails holding Islamic State militants remind us that the path to peace remains difficult. Let us remember the innocent families caught in these conflicts. In Ukraine, the election chief has warned against rushing into post-war voting, noting the enormous challenges of organizing elections with shattered infrastructure and millions displaced. Meanwhile, drone strikes have cut power to hundreds of thousands in Russian-occupied areas, while Russia continues attacking Ukraine's energy grid, a heartbreaking weaponizing of winter that causes such suffering for ordinary people trying to stay warm. In Portugal, a surprising first-round presidential election has seen Antonio José Seguro of the center-left win over far-right candidate André Ventura. They will face each other in a February 8th runoff. Democratic processes, even with their challenges, remain a blessing when conducted with integrity. Finally, Guatemala's President Bernardo Arevalo has declared a state of siege after suspected gang members killed 7 police officers following prison riots. The violence came after authorities regained control of a maximum security prison housing a gang leader. Such cycles of violence call us to remember that true security comes only through justice tempered with mercy. As I conclude tonight's news, dear friends, remember that even in a world filled with challenges, there remains much goodness. Look for ways to bring comfort to others, share your bread with the hungry, shelter those without homes, and speak words of kindness to the downhearted. The greatest gift we can give is love expressed through action. From my heart to yours, good night, and may peace be with you all.